All right, let's get started, folks. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, Michael Copps, Partner Technology Strategist with the US SMB team. My specific role these days is supporting the Northwest Territory. I used to support Central, moved a little closer to home. Now I support Seattle area, San Francisco, Oregon, Alaska, Idaho, that area. And I am lucky enough to have Barb Barrowman co-presenting with me today. Barb, you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Barb Barrowman. I'm a partner sales executive, and I specifically work with partners in North Central in the states of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
Cool. So Barb, I'm going to share my desktop and just go over a few things. I think today's topic is Azure Active Directory and directory synchronization, and just really understanding this new world of identity. Since I'm sharing my desktop, I'm not going to see the link chat window. We really want these to be interactive events, right? We've titled these office hours. So ask questions, unmute yourself, ask anything that comes to mind. I've presented this topic a lot. Maybe some of you have seen it. So if there's any pressing questions that you have, feel free to just speak up, or you can always chat in the chat window, and Barb will just go ahead and verbalize it to me since I'm presenting here. So let's get started. And again, the goal here is to get your questions answered about really about identity in Azure. So I will go ahead and just present off of this SMB Live deck. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to go to our SMB Live events, but we basically it's a 2-day event. First day is marketing and really talking about building up your cloud practice and marketing your cloud practice to get more customers, right? So you can sell them Office 365 in Azure. Second day, we have a technical track. That's what we're going to talk about. We cover, we cover a lot of things. We cover the Windows 2000 Server 2003 end of support, right? Pretty big topic. And then we cover some Azure stuff, specifically identity. So I'm going to go into some of that content. We also cover Hyper-V and storage spaces and all the benefits of Windows Server 2012 R2. But let's go ahead and get into Azure, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of Azure Active Directory. And then I'm gonna show you kind of Azure AD in action and give a little demo because I want you guys to start playing around with this and start showing this to your customers, right? There's a ton of opportunity, and the opportunity that we've highlighted is really take your, most of you on the call, you probably have a lot of Office 365 customers, right? Take those customers and say, you know what, customer, are you using Azure? No, we're not using Azure. And then you say, yes, you are. You're using Azure Active Directory. That's how you authenticate to Office 365. Then you can actually access their Azure Active Directory and start giving them all the features and benefits of Azure Active Directory. And that's what we're going to talk about shortly. So let's go ahead and just do a quick, let me get to the part of the deck I want, really, and we'll just do a quick overview. Really quick, I'll do a quick plug of our Azure Solution Accelerators. These are finished documents that you've probably heard us talk about quite a bit. We've got our Hybrid Cloud Solution Accelerator. That's what I think I did in office hours a few weeks ago where we talked about that, extending networks into Azure, right? Setting up that VPN, setting up your virtual network in Azure, and then really extending your customer's data center so you can start moving resources up into Azure like a domain controller, an app that relies on AD, SQL perhaps. The second solution accelerator, identity management, that walks through basically installing our directory synchronization tools, right? So you have Azure Active Directory synchronized with on-premises Active Directory, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The third accelerator is BCDR, business continuity and disaster recovery. That talks about features, and I believe we have office hours around the topic. Not sure if we've already had them, but that's like ASR, Azure Site Recovery. and then Azure Backup. There's been tons of innovations around those technologies. Well, this solution accelerator just walks you through step by step how to set that up. So here we go. Let's talk. Go ahead.
Michael, I
Yeah.
just had a quick, I was going to have you jump you over to the IM window. We had a question in there that's just kind of some concerns with an individual that has, multiple Microsoft IDs. So if you want to read through that real quick and see what we can consolidate. I know, like, kind of going into some of these meetings, you'll still need that, Microsoft Live ID for registering for these meetings, but you should be able to consolidate some of them.
Oh, yes. So we've got Live ID sprawl, it looks like, where you've got a bunch of different accounts. Um, let's see. I can authenticate my laptop with Office 365. And then so you're saying another username and password to log into Azure. Well, really, if you take your Office 365 account, we call those org accounts, organizational accounts. You can actually log into Azure using that, and you need to set it up, right? You need to really, and I'm going to walk into how to set that up. But if you don't want to, because I'm going to go into Azure today, and I'm going to use my Live ID, my Microsoft account, because it allows me to do some things that I can't do when I log in with my organizational account, which happens to be my Microsoft account, because I work at Microsoft, right? And it's more tied down because Microsoft IT has tied it down for us. That's why I use my Live ID. I also have a demo account. Anyone heard of Karen Berg? Right, that's our Mech demo account that we use a lot, that I use a lot. I can also log into Azure using that account, and I'll show you that as well. But really, I think typically you're going to use your Live ID to log into Azure. But yes, there are ways to consolidate it. When I start showing it, I think you'll get a better idea. So really, just talking about Azure Active Directory from a very high level, it's our new, we want it to become a standard, and it is becoming a standard for identity management in the cloud, right? So here's a good visual. Central, we have Microsoft Azure Active Directory, and then you have that connecting on premises to Windows Server Active Directory, something that most of our customers have, right? Just about all of them have. And how do we get those to speak, to integrate and sync together? We use our directory synchronization tool. And that, where do we get the directory synchronization tool? We can download it in the Office 365 admin console, or we can download it in our Azure Active Directory console, and I'll show you that. It's the exact same tool. Now, we further complicated things, and with the effort, or with the goal of making it simpler, but we now have Azure Active Directory Connect. That is the new tool that's going to handle all synchronization going forward. And basically, think of it as this. Azure Active Directory Connect is one tool that you will always download. It's available in the Microsoft Download site, and we just released a new version on the 20th of May. But Azure Active Directory Connect uses directory sync. So it incorporates directory sync into the tool, but it also does much more, and it helps with like ADFS setup as well, and makes it simple for that. But just think, going forward, if you want to set up a synchronization with your directories, with AD specifically, and sometimes directories outside of AD, though I'm not by any means an expert on that, you'll use the Azure Active Directory Connect tool. And I will say right now, a lot of you probably aren't using it. You're probably just downloading the directory sync tool right there in your admin console, which is fine. You can continue to do that, but we're moving more towards the Azure Active Directory Connect. So here in the visual, you've got Azure Active Directory, which is our cloud identity management solution. What can I manage with my Azure Active Directory? I can manage user accounts today, right? So I can go and see all my users. What can I not manage today? I cannot manage like computer accounts, server accounts. You still do that in on-premises Active Directory, right? Is that capability coming to Azure Active Directory? And this is one of the number one questions we get. When can I just use Azure Active Directory and not have to use, I've got this really small business, they want to go 100% cloud. When can I use Azure Active Directory as my main directory for my users and all their devices and computers? And I'd say that's coming. We're working on that. We're going to release domain services where we can like join our Azure Active Directory. But we can't do that today, so I'm not going to talk about it any further. But just know that's on the roadmap, and also on the roadmap is really just making Azure Active Directory and on-prem Active Directory, very similar, and blending them into one. But right now, I would say Azure Active Directory is a complementary solution to on-prem Active Directory. And we always say, if you want to go 100% cloud, and I think my colleague Rob Wagner just did a session on this about going 100% cloud for organizations, including directories, that's when we spin up a virtual network in Azure and install our on-prem Active Directory in VMs in Azure. Therefore, we've made a cloud directory service. It's just traditional Active Directory running in VMs. And then you can install DirSync on those VMs as well, using DirSync or the Azure Active Directory Connect tool, and sync with Azure Active Directory, and now you've got a 100% cloud environment for your organization. Now, if they want to join the domain, they're going to have access to those domain controllers. So you're looking for a customer's location, brick and mortar, right, an office, they would need that site-to-site VPN so they could actually hit those domain controllers. And for remote employees, you would have to do a point-to-site VPN. So VPN in so you can log into the domain, right? So typical scenario for 100% cloud, spin up those domain controllers in Azure virtual machines. A lot of the times, if you have a big office, 50 people, 25 people, you say, you know what, I'm just going to put a inexpensive domain controller on premises as well, just to service those local authentication requests, even though Azure is my central Active Directory site. So that's the type of stuff we see. So once you have that all set up, that synchronization, what's that give us? It gives us more features and functionality than than just using Azure Active Directory to log into Office 365. It allows us to log into over 2,400 software as a service applications in the form of application integrations, right? So we can, and I'm going to show you this to make it real. We can literally just go to a portal and log in to all the third-party SaaS apps that our customers are using. So the use case scenario is you go into a customer and say, all right, what are you using out there to be productive, and what are some of your services that you're paying for and that your users have a username and password for? Well, we're on Office 365, maybe we're using Salesforce.com, or we have a few Dropbox accounts, or we have this QuickBooks Online, something like that. And then you say, what if I gave you one username and password for all of that? And you accessed it through a portal, myapps.microsoft.com. Cool. I think it's something all customers would want because centralized identity management for the cloud is big right now. It's something a lot of organizations are thinking about just for compliance purposes. I don't want my users to have 5 different usernames and passwords because they're putting company data in these resources, and I'm having a very difficult time tracking it. And my users are having a difficult time managing their passwords. So ton of opportunity there. Azure Active Directory in the premium flavor, and that's what we're going to talk about today, gives us some advanced reporting that you get in Azure Active Directory Premium. So think of it as like Active Directory reports, but in Azure Active Directory. So I can show you the kind of reports we get, and it gives us multi-factor authentication, the premium flavor, and that is becoming more of a standard, right? In multi-factor authentication, best way to describe it is I log into Office 365 and then before it authenticates me, I put in my username password. I get a text of a 6-digit code, and I got to put that in on my pull it off of my cell phone, mobile device, or you have a mobile app that generates a code. So it's just another layer of authentication that's becoming more and more of a standard. So let me see if there is anything else I want to share in terms of slides. And again, feel free to ask questions. So I don't do all the talking here, or at least so you have what you need out of this call. It's a short call, only a half hour, but I'm just going to show you this eye chart really quick to show you the different flavors of Azure Active Directory. We've got the free version that comes with 365, or basically it just comes with Azure. You sign into Azure. Then on the far right, you've got the free version that comes with Office 365. Right? Because every Office 365 account has an associated Azure Active Directory account. And then we've got AD Basic, and then we have Azure AD Premium. And what we like to talk about Premium. We think there's great value there. All in the green below, you see that we get a bunch of different great features in terms of management capabilities for our users. And then Azure AD Premium also comes with EMS. We've been talking about EMS, Enterprise Mobility Suite, for some time. And EMS is a SKU. It's $7.60 per user per month, and it gets you Azure Active Directory Premium. It gets you Azure Rights Management, and it gets you Intune. So you add them all up, it's over $14. We're selling it for $7.60. So great value, allows you to kind of manage the security, compliance, data governance of your customer. So let's get in. Let me just kind of show off Premium here and just Azure AD in a lot of the features. So let's go into my portal. This is something you can all do. Right, and you're probably familiar with your Azure portal. So let's go ahead and let's go back here to our main Azure portal. You'll log in. Notice how I'm logged in with my Hotmail account. And this is what I use to demo Azure. Again, I could log into with my Microsoft account, but it's tied down because I'm part of the Microsoft greater organization. And here I've got a bunch of subscriptions here. It's like there's looks like my default directory, and then I have my Microsoft directory. So today I'm just on my Hotmail directory. So if I scroll down, we go to Azure, or we go to Active Directory. These are my Azure Active Directory domains. See all the Contosos? Those are all my mech demo accounts. So I don't know if any of you have gone in and configured the mech demo, www.usmech.com. And using the Karenberg account, it allows us to show the full productivity of Office 365. Well, I take those accounts and I go into Azure and I manage the directory for them because they're Office 365 accounts with associated Azure Active Directory. So this is an old demo account. This is an old one. This is my latest one. So let's go ahead and click on that. It's Contoso. That's what they call it. By default. Really quick, the other directories are with my Live ID. I sign up. The first time I signed up, I just got a default directory. So I don't really use this for anything. Sometimes I add things in there. It's just my default directory for this particular Azure tenant. And then here's my Microsoft directory. This is because I'm a Microsoft employee. I get access to that. If I go in there, it doesn't allow me to do anything. It's managed by Microsoft IT. So let's go ahead and go into Contoso. And here you'll see this is our directory service, Azure Active Directory, right? Users, groups, applications, domains, directory integration. If I click on directory integration, DirSync, remember DirSync, this is what we install and synchronize. And like I said earlier, the Azure AD Connect tool uses DirSync. So I could either just download it right here, and I believe there's a link to install the DirSync tool right here, download it, and it takes me to the DirSync download site. Or I can install Azure AD Connect. I can run this on a domain controller. I can run it on a member server, and it will take all my user accounts and it will throw them up into my Azure Active Directory right here. It'll put them all in here. Oops. And looks like I mistakenly clicked. Sorry about that. So it'll put them all in my user directory give this a second to reload. And I'm going to show you really quick an app integration. But really quick, I want to show you the user integration. So let's let this load. All right, perfect. And then I go to users, and here I don't have DirSync running on this computer because this is a newer demo account. I never bothered setting up DirSync. Sometimes I do on previous accounts, but this is, see where it says sourced from? This is my Azure Active Directory. So it's basically just telling me this account was created in Azure Active Directory. If I ran DirSync, it would say something like synced with on-prem Active Directory, right? And then I would know that these users are being pulled from on-prem. And then if I add a user, it would say Windows Azure Active Directory, even though there might be some other users that were synced. So really allows us, it's that second place to manage our accounts if we have that DirSync running. With our on-premises Active Directory. So something cool that we can do, there's group management. Really quick, let's talk about setting up, because you're bound to run into this problem if you set this up. Here's how you add your Office 365 account. Simply go, you'll log in to Azure, or maybe with your Live ID, and you'll just see the default directory. Simply go to New, Directory, Custom create a new directory, or use an existing directory. You check this box, hit OK, log in with your Office 365 admin account, any account that has global admin permissions, and then the next time you log back in with your Live ID, you're going to see Contoso, or the name of your Office 365 account. And then you can go in there and start doing these things. It's that simple. And if you're, partners servicing multiple Office 365 customers, you can go in there and just add all of your customers here to get quick access into their Azure Active Directory and start doing cool things, right? So what are some of the cool things I can do? I could do the branding of my Office 365 page. So, for example, if I do custom branding here, and this is pretty cool, this is something your customers might want. So I'm going to do a banner logo. Shoot, I just rebuilt my computer, and it doesn't look like I have any good pictures there. So let's just choose random picture, and it'll look bad, but that's all I have. Dogs playing poker. How about that? And then we'll say, welcome to Contoso, and then we'll do that, and we'll hit OK, and that's gonna sign, and we'll go back to that as it kind of works on my custom branding. So that's a feature I get of the AD Premium, and then there's a bunch of other features in here I won't get into. But if I go back to applications, this is where I add my application integrations. So let's go ahead and delete this Twitter one, so I can show you the full experience there. And then we'll go ahead and open up another window, and I'm going to do an in private browsing session and go to myapps.microsoft.com. So check that out. And any questions there, Barb? Anyone asking any questions, or obviously no one's speaking up?
Yep, nope, we're clear in the IM window.
I'm going to log in, thanks, to northwest.onmicrosoft.com. This is my org account, right? Oh, and there's my custom branding, dogs playing poker. So you can give this to your customers. So notice what happened. As soon as I hit tab from my org account down, it said, oh, you're part of this organization. I'm going to go ahead and give you your custom branding. See, welcome to Contoso, gave me my dogs playing poker, gave me my brand there. So you can go ahead and set that up. That was for myapps.microsoft.com. It's also for logging into your 365 portal as well, right? So you go to portal.office.com, you'll get that same branding. And then here's the logo at the top. Obviously, this isn't the right logo to put there. Typically, you would just put the company name, and then you get it. So here's my app portal. And this is the idea, right? Look at these modern looking tiles. Really, it's designed for any device, whether it's your laptop, your tablet device, or a phone. You just have these nice squares, and from here, all I need to know is my Active Directory credentials, which are synced up to Azure Active Directory, right? And then I log into this portal and I get access to my OneDrive, PayPal, DocuSign, QuickBooks Online for the accounting folks. And this is all managed centrally by IT. So if we go back, and it looks like there's a question there. Nope, maybe not. Looks like someone's waiting in the lobby. So if we go back to my Azure portal here, let's add another application integration. So I'm going to go ahead and I click add, and here I can build my own applications, right? A lot of orgs, bigger orgs, develop their own apps and publish them for the users. And then I'm going to go ahead and just hit add one from the gallery. There's 2,463 application integrations, and this number is growing, right? As more and more demand comes up for Azure Active Directory, we're seeing more applications being added. So the big ones are always featured. Box, Concur, that's what we use for our business travel. Citrix GoToMeeting, a lot of Microsoft's competitors as well. Dropbox for business, I can manage that. Single sign-on and centralized sign-on for all these applications. Dynamic CRM, Google Apps, Jive, 365's in there. Salesforce.com, that's a big one. ServiceNow, Workday, I get asked about that often. And then it's broken down by different area of business. So let's go ahead and log into a Twitter. I'm going to add the Twitter application here. Hit OK. And hit OK. And it tells me, okay, you've successfully added Twitter. And I'm going to scroll down, get rid of these, assign my users. Give it a second. And I'm going to give this to Karen. I'm going to say, you know what, Karen? You're in the scenario I always use is Karen is taking over the Twitter account for a week because the normal Twitter person, marketing person, went on vacation. So I don't want to tell her the username and password, right? I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. And shoot, let's see if I can remember this. TS2 SMB. I think I can. TS2 PA. There we go, that should be right. And then I'm going to go ahead and assign that to Karen. It's working. It enabled access for her. If I scroll down, I see, oh, now Karen is assigned the Twitter account, and I call Karen and say, hey, Karen, can you manage Twitter and start posting some interesting things? So I go back to Karen's portal. It says your apps have been updated. Karen clicks on that, and now she has Twitter, so she's going in, just one username and password, that's all she needs, and she's been assigned Twitter. So I'm going to click on Twitter. Let's see if the password I entered is correct. And it throws it there, and then it pulls me in there, right? So there's different levels of application integrations. For example, Salesforce.com is much more tightly integrated. For example, if I create a new Azure AD user, it'll create that user in Salesforce.com. But for other apps like Twitter, it's just passing credentials, right? In authenticating. So there's a little script, very simple integration. But now Karen can post on Twitter, demoing Azure AD. Yay. All right. So now we're tweeting. So that's the integration. Looks like we're at the top of the hour. I can stay on a few minutes later and basically just answer any questions that you have. I know we only schedule these for a half hour, but let me know, folks. Is this interesting to you? Is this something that you are talking to your customers about? Do you think they'll be interested in consolidated identity management in the cloud? We see a lot of potential there, and what I'm excited about is Microsoft's investment in Azure Active Directory and really making it a standard out there for cloud identity. And really the investment is making that Azure Active Directory look and feel much like on-prem Active Directory, and we have a very aggressive roadmap in bringing a lot of these features up there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I appreciate everyone joining and spending some time with us, and please reach out if you do have any questions.